Welcome, Amakhosi Network. Welcome to the channel. Chiefs lose to Sundowns, and we were robbed. Like in the end, at the day we had a penalty. They kicked Tanzania in the box with no winning the ball. We were robbed. We were robbed. We were robbed. We were absolutely robbed. And we also have to be honest. Kaizer Chiefs also, we killed ourselves. Peterson killed us in the end. Like the ref kept blowing for Sundowns. Like today, it was just not gonna happen. Like no matter what you can say, today it was not gonna happen. Saile tap in miss, Dupree tap in miss. Like if you wanted to say who's the better team on the day, it's Kaizer Chiefs based on the chances that we had. We had so many chances and we couldn't beat Sundowns, and Sundowns beat us. And in the end, the ref will be the discussion because in the end, the ref denied Kaizer Chiefs a penalty. And one thing I will say about this game, and this is something I've said in many games that we've played, that Sundowns has played. I said Sundowns is a dirty team. Sundowns fouled every time we were going out. There was a player who was out there to foul Kaizer Chiefs. They didn't care. They fouled us. They fouled us for days. When you get the ball, they either hack you from the. No, they don't actually hack you. They don't do fouls where you can see Guti, a player could be hurt. No, they do those fouls where it's professional fouls. They keep doing professional fouls, but they kept doing it. But at the end of the day, guys, this is what I'll say. If there's anyone to blame in this game, if there's anyone to blame in this game, it's Kaizer Chiefs. We are to blame. We missed all the chances. We should have beat Sundowns today. And I'm not saying draw. Draw is not the true reflection of the score of the game. We were meant to beat Sundowns today. Sundowns was not meant to beat Kaizer Chiefs today. And they beat us. Like, yeah, it was really a disappointing game to watch. Like Saile mistapping Dupree. Yeah, guys, like yo, I'm so defeated actually when I look at how many chances we had to beat Sundowns and we didn't. Sundowns' chances, they came like Sundowns. You know what? At halftime, I said this. I said, when you look at this game, it's clear. It's quality over quantity. Sundowns didn't beat us because they played better than us or anything. No, Sundowns beat us because they just have quality players on the field. Like Peter Shalulilo's goal, even we can say whatever we want to say about Peter Shalulilo's goal, but now in midweek when we were playing, Dupree missed those goals. Like Dupree missed the goals that Peter Shabulile scored today. Shalila scored a goal with no keeper on the pole. Dupree missed that same chance. Dupree missed the tap in. Like, yeah, Dupree needs to work on his finishing. Like Dupree, his game is doing in terms of finishing. Like he's everything you want in a player. He's everything you want in a player, but it's just the finishing. When Gonzalez came, it gave us more strength and stuff like that. But what I'll say is this. It seems like Kaizer Chiefs players, oh, and I also mentioned 70th minute when Matt stopped playing and they didn't replace Matt. In 70th minute, Matt was finished. He was tired. He couldn't close. There was a point where Uzungu and Mukwena were running and Alende, they were all just running past Matt to go and shoot. And I was like, Mule Finzik, we know how important Matt is, but at this point, he is not marking. So you might as well put in Uzwane. You might as well put in Uzwane because he's not tracking back. He's tired. Like Matt was finished, guys. Like Matt at the end of the game, at 70th minute, Matt was no longer a player for Kaizer Chiefs. He was just a number because he didn't do anything. And it's like, yeah, you know what? It's one of those days where we're gonna cry, we're gonna say we were robbed, we're gonna say Sundowns robbed us, etc. That will be the name of the game at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, this is what happens, guys. This is what it means. Sundowns beat us. It's gonna go into the record books. Sundowns will probably win the MTN 8. Sundowns beat us. Like I always say this. A lot of people say, hey, Chiefs in the past used to also win, what. Then I was like, yeah, but there was no VAR in the past. So there are many, you can say that about so many finals and semi-finals that have happened around the world where there was no VAR. If there was no VAR, Argentina may not even have a World Cup in one of those years because of the hand of God of Maradona. So there's so many instances where that happens, and this is gonna be one of them. It's gonna be a game where we, as Chief supporters, when we one day talk to Sundown supporters about this MTN Cup, a semi-final, we will say Sundowns robbed us because there was a penalty and the ref was blowing in Sundowns' favor. Another thing I noticed in the game, Sundowns made their ball boys not hold the ball. So Sundowns did this thing where they played African football stuff in South Africa. So if you would see, every time Chiefs players wanted the ball, the ball boys wouldn't just give them the ball. The Chiefs players had to like run and try go and get the ball from the ball boys, etc. Because and even at the end of the game, the ball boy didn't even come and give Chiefs the ball. The ball boy literally like left the ball there, and Chiefs player was like, pass the ball, pass, and he didn't. And then like Dove had to run and the ball boy walked away from the ball. So this is one thing I will say to this. This is one thing I'll say. Sundowns is playing very African football. Sundowns is playing Champions League soccer in the PSL, and they are prepping themselves for Champions League. If you see how dirty they are, they're playing Champions League football. If you see how the tactics they use against like using the ball boys, the way they do the Champions League football, everything they are doing now is they are playing to match the Champions League physicality, to match the Champions League fouls, to match everything Champions League. And that is what they did to Chiefs today. And what that means is that if Chiefs was in a final of a Champions League game, Chiefs would not win that game unless that game had VAR. If that game had VAR, Chiefs would win the game because we would get a penalty. But if there's no VAR, Chiefs would lose that Champions League game. That's what it means. So yeah, it's interesting. The one thing I will say is this, guys. Despite Molefe Ntseki, we're not all happy about Molefe Ntseki and all of those things, but we have to be honest. We are the one team that seems to be able to score against Sundowns. We've scored against them in the past 3 games. The league, the 2 semifinals of MTN 8, we scored against them, and today we were actually meant to hit Sundowns with like when we say the final score, it was meant to be like Chiefs 4, Sundowns 3. That was meant to be the final score. If we have to be honest, it was meant to just be Chiefs 4, Sundowns 3. But if you don't score, you don't win. And that has been our problem as Chiefs the whole of the season, the whole of the past 3 games. Because if we have to even be honest on top of that, is that Dupree's goal was not a goal created outside of play. It's a penalty. It's a set piece. So that means that in the past 3 games, we have not scored from any movements. We have not scored any goals. We've only been able to score with a set piece. And that is sad. That is sad that Chiefs can't score in open play. We cannot create a goal, put it in the back of the net. We have had tap-ins, we have had everything that is needed for a team to win. But in the past 3 games, we have failed to score. In the past 3 games, we have created the most chances, I think, than probably any team in the league, if you have to think about it. But we did not score the goals. So that's what I have to say about that. Yeah, Chiefs lose. It's a bitter taste. We lose MTN 8. Like, did we expect to win the MTN 8? No, we didn't expect to win it. But today, after watching this game today, you feel you would have rather have lost knowing your team was up than have lost knowing that your team could not score tap-ins. Like, your team had tap-ins for days. Like, yo, Saile tap-in miss. Dupree tap-in miss. Mtanzane, they kick in the box in extra time, no penalty. Like, it is just, yeah, you know what, guys? I don't want to say too much in this video. You know what? Fans are gonna go out there and blame Molefe. They will blame Molefe all they want. We will blame him, we'll blame him, we'll blame him. And yes, we have a right to blame him. When I say we have a right to blame him, I say we can't blame Molefe about the past 3 games. I agree. Like, I wish everyone can agree with me. We can't blame Molefe for the past 3 games. But what we can blame Molefe for is not playing like this from preseason. What changed? What changed? Why did we not play like this from preseason? Why do I say this? If we could be playing like this from preseason, by the time we are where we are now, goals would most probably be going in the back of the net, and we would also see the striking problem is a real problem. That is not a this season problem. It's a last season problem. The chances that Preez Saile and all of these guys have been missing the past 3 games, or the chances they were missing when we were coached when we were coached by Arthur's one. That is the thing, which is why we say we need a striker coach, because all of these chances we are missing, they have been missing. So that is about it. Let me go and just speak about the players. Peterson, bad game. He had a bad game. Peterson was done from the beginning, and the first goal, anyone can see it was his problem. The second goal, I also blame Peterson, because why do I blame Peterson? He did not run to the near post. If he was going to be beaten, rather let him be beaten in the far post. He was never meant to be beaten at the near post. He was meant to cover ground to beat it, but he's not the only one to blame for the second goal. If you watch the replays of the second goal, Frosler was marking the heck out of Ribeiro, and he marked Ribeiro, recovered, he went back and marked it. And every time Frosler was doing this, Abo Shanti and Abo Martin, all of these guys, they were not running back to the pole. They were jogging slowly, saying, Frosler will hold him until we arrive. They were just jogging like casually. And then the moment Ribeiro crossed, Ushanti decided to run full pace. And that time it was too late. And that's why I say, why did Shanti not show? Why did not? It's not him alone. Why did all of them not run quick into the box, like to cover the cross that's gonna come in, because they saw Peter Shalilile was there. So it's unfortunate, guys. Yeah, that's what happened. So Peterson, bad game. Shanti, when Dove came, we looked like a new team. A new team. Shanti must not come back. Shanti must not come back. When Shanti came back, the left wing closed for Sundowns. Sundowns left wing closed. That is why Maseko even came and tried to attack Dove, closed. He even had to go back to Frosler's side. Dove is a much better left back than Shanti at this point. I'm not saying Shanti is a bad left back, but Dove gives us more control. Dove wants to play. You could see Dove did not just get and kick. Dove would get, and he wants people to create. He doesn't just want to release the ball. Even though he did make a mistake that almost cost us, but luckily Dupree covered and saved him. So Shanti played. Oh no, Shanti didn't play well. They were like kicking his side. Shanti did not play well. But when Dove came, the door was shut. Better. Msimango and Ditokwe played a good game. They couldn't do anything about the first goal, and the second goal was more of a Shanti issue, because Shanti arrived late in the box. Shanti was the weakest link for Chiefs in the first half, and that is where we were punished. Shanti and Peterson actually were the weakest links in the first half. And then we have to go right back. Frosler played well. He covered. There was no times where they outplayed Frosler, except for the goal. But in the goal, we have to be honest. In the goal they scored, Frosler did everything. Frosler recovered. He did everything he could, but his teammates like didn't support him when the ball eventually got past him. Matt was defending well. Matt, obviously, his problem, what is his Matt's problem? He doesn't know how to have accurate passes, especially on a long ball. Frosler is also a victim of this. Late in the game, you can't be making those kind of errors where you're kicking the ball out when we need those crosses. So I'll also say that with Frosler. Frosler made that mistake of not passing properly. Matt missed passes are killing us. Matt's missed passes are killing us. And I'm going to say this today. If our midfield is lacking the quality it's lacking that we've been seeing, what we saw in this game, especially in the first half, or not even in the second half. If our midfield lacks the quality it lacked in the first half, where they failed to control the ball, they failed to move the ball, they just failed because no one knows how to own the middle, we won't win a lot of games. Maybe with Umthetwa coming in, things will be a bit better, give people more freedom. But I feel like at this point, if Umthetwa comes in, we must just play with the number 6 and 2 number 8. And the 2 number 8s must be Castillo and Matlo. Because I'm going to get to Matlo now, after Castillo. Castillo, like I said for the previous game, he does not dominate the middle of the park. He disappears in moments we need him. There are crucial moments where we need him, and we tend to see Matt more than we see Castillo. Whether he's doing runs on the side, etc., we lose out on Castillo because, Castillo, he needs to up his game if he's going to play, because Mdu Shabalala did so much more than Castillo did when Mdu came on. Mdu played much better than Castillo. So hopefully when Abokik and Dolly and stuff like that come and we're playing 2-8, it's going to look better. Matlo, his best game in a Kaizer Chiefs jersey, in my opinion. I saw some comments saying, hey, Matlo must go out. Guys, please go watch that game again. Matlo is the only midfield player in Kaizer Chiefs who would get the ball, turn and go at Sundowns, who would challenge Sundowns players. Matlo is the only player who was challenging like Sundowns players in the middle. He had confidence that he would not lose the ball. Matlo created so many chances, created so many movements. The only thing is that he doesn't have the same around him, because around him it's Matt and Castillo. And Castillo was off today. I don't know what happened. And Matt is not that creative. So then he had to try figure out ways to get Abomodi into the game. You know what? We need another creative midfielder, whether it's Dolly, whether it's Shabalala, whatever, playing along Matlo. Matlo was the best player on the day. Best player. I think substituting Matlo, you know what? If we won this game, because we didn't win this game, I will say for me, substituting Matlo was not a good move. But if it was but in hindsight, I would say Molefe and Tseke did a good move, because when they brought in Mdantsane was kicked in the box and was meant to get a penalty, but he didn't get the penalty. So at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that had the ref judged it properly and given us a penalty, then Mdantsane would have been a very good sub, but that didn't happen. And he looked more confident, Mdantsane, so I can't fault him there. Modi was not really in the game this game. They weren't really a threat to Sundowns. Botsani wasn't really a threat to Sundowns, though one thing I'll say about Botsani may not be the highest quality of player, but I like his energy. His energy to go forward, his energy to create and stuff is good. It's just that he lacks certain qualities of a star player, but he has the energy like to move forward, etc., etc. But like he lacks that final touch. He lacks that final pass. He's lacking just a little bit of just that little bit of spark and creativity and outthinking the opponent. But he does. He knows how to move, etc., etc. But if you could just get that one little thing sorted. And then Dupree was good. Dupree was good on the day. I can't really fault Dupree. Good in the essence of making Sundowns work. But bad in the instance because he missed so many chances. Dupree, like the previous game, I think the one game Royal, I think it was Royal AM, Dupree was meant to have a hat trick. Today, Dupree was meant to have a hat trick. If we count the hat trick, the first chance where he went out on goal with he shot it wide, that was meant to be a goal. Second chance, they passed him the ball and he was going to be onside, and then he wasn't paying attention and the ball hit him on his back heel. He was gonna be one-on-one. Number two. Number three, is that tap in that Dupree missed. Dupree missed the tap in. So when you count all of these things, including the penalty, he actually had 3 chances where he was one-on-one with the keeper and he missed. 3 chances one-on-one, including the penalty, it's 4 chances. So Dupree's composure is what lost us the game, if we have to be honest. Gonzalez and Saile came and gave more good energy and stuff. But yeah, Saile needs to work on his running. I always say that he's a fast player, but needs to work on his running. But he did create the tap in, and that's why I always say Saile is always a good player to come off the bench. But when he eventually gets his confidence to start games, it will be good. A part of me, when I was watching the first half and I was seeing Abobotsane suffering and how I saw how weak Sundowns was in running, I was like, yo, Saile in this game would have been so good to start because of his pace. But yeah, at the end of the day, he missed a tap. He gave a tap in and he missed one. Guys, we lose the MTN8. Please subscribe to the channel. But yeah, we lost. It is what it is.